All right, everybody, jumping it on. Welcome to Bedrock Business Builders Workshop on business credits, deductions, how to bulletproof your business, bookkeeping and record, and all that good stuff. My name, I said it before, I'll say it again, because you know, when you come to one of these workshops, there's a little bit of a time right in the beginning where we can share secrets with one another. But my name is Elizabeth Frederick, and I'm here as the Chief Fun Officer. All right. If you're not having fun during this workshop, then I'm not doing my job. And please, I like to keep my job. Don't tell Joe that you're not having fun, but you can save your complaints for the end. You can send an email to Corrine at Bedrock Business Builders. All right. She'll make sure that whatever needs to be done is done, and we all are kept on schedule. Okay. Ooh, I'm going to mute anybody who is not muted at the moment. Okay. But not a big deal. Everybody is still coming into the room. We are going to chit chat about real important things for about, I don't know, 2 hours, an hour and a half. You're going to be able to ask questions. We're going to play games. Don't you worry about it. We're going to learn lots of different things because Joe has a lot of different things to share with us. But in the meantime, because we're sitting at our desks, it's always good to wiggle around, to lift up our hands, to stretch just a little bit and settle ourselves in. If you don't have any tea or something to drink, I highly recommend it. I've got some tea next to me. I think Joe has some water. I don't know. Joe, are you still doing that 75 hard? Did you modify it?
I am not doing it. Not officially. I am still working out. I am still drinking water. I'm just not, yeah.
You're not taking a picture of it. Okay, the answer is no. So Joe, I'll just have you guys know, I'm tracking it, but he's no longer tracking it. Previously, he did this program, it was 75 hard, and 75 hard is for 75 days. You drink, what was it, like a gallon of water? Gallon of water. You work out 2 times a day. At least once of it, one time has to be outside. I think Joe did this in the middle of winter when he was doing it.
No, I did it at the end of the summer. That's
thank goodness. And then you take a picture of yourself doing these things every day. I have to admit, as a marketing person, it made it so it built a lot of awareness. There are records of Joe doing this in the past, and it helped him get on schedule, because when you're on schedule, everything else seems to be on schedule and flows nicely. But drinking a gallon of water is a hard thing to do, right, Joe? So just a glass during the workshop, just a glass. So I think Joe is still inviting people to come into the room. He's doing something. He's texting.
I'm taking care of our clients.
Taking care of clients. You know, this is tax season. April 14th is like D-Day. Corporate taxes were March 15th, right, Joe? And it's not the 15th. I like to say the 15th, but isn't it the 18th that personal taxes are due?
April 18th, yes. The pain will go on for an extra 3 days.
That's true. But this is where the tax date, it does shift every year, and the IRS definitely has different due dates every year. So it's always good to check what the IRS calendar is. It's never really the same. Are we ready to go? Joe, do you want to share? You can share your screen. We
are ready to go.
We are ready to go. It's 1:08. Everybody who's here is here. If they're not here, well, they're missing out, and hopefully they can get a recording. Everybody else can get a recording once you're here. Ooh, here we go. Because we're going to set up your business for maximum deductions, credits, and other benefits. Oh, my goodness.
So I made one mistake there. Hold on.
All right. See, mistakes, they happen. Nobody's perfect. Even when you're filing your taxes, you can make mistakes. Did you know that you can make amendments? Joe, how long can you make an amendment?
That's a good question, because I just wrote that up last night for this program that we're going to be doing on April 30th. And you can file an amended return either 3 years after the due date or 2 years after you've paid your tax. And usually that's if you want to get a refund. If you've made a mistake, if you owe the IRS money, you could probably always prepare an extension, an amendment. Although the statute of limitations goes for the IRS too. They usually can't go back more than 3 years unless there's fraud involved. or tax evasion, something really bad. And that only happens if they're doing a criminal investigation. So
That's
that's the
good to
story
know.
with amended returns, but that's a good question. A lot of people don't realize that they can amend returns. We do them all the time.
Mhm. Sometimes don't we amend returns for when people are trying to get loans or trying to change their finances and things like that? Does that happen?
Well, nah, no, you
No.
can't just amend your return to get a loan. You want you want to
Sorry.
amend your return if there's a mistake in your favor. In other words, so when we get new clients, the first thing we do, we always ask them for the last 2 years of returns, and we will review them for two reasons. Number one, get a history of their tax situation, and also to see if there's any mistakes that were made, especially if people have done the returns themselves, which a lot of people do. So there's always a pot of gold at the end of the rainbow.
I like that. I'm searching for the pot of gold, but I'm glad that you're making it so I'm keeping track of the rules and regulations, because it's really important to be in compliance. You can't just do anything you want with your taxes. You can't make up the numbers. You can't just fill in what you want because it gives you a higher return. Now, some people or some accountants might think that's possible, and some people who are not actually licensed to file tax returns will do that, right? Because they want to try and give their clients the highest amount in a return. But that's misleading. That could get you in trouble. In fact, the people who are filing tax returns like that get in trouble because they're not licensed. So when you're working with an accountant, when you're working with someone who's going to file taxes, it's important to make sure that they're an enrolled agent, that they're actually licensed to do what they do. And Joe is actually licensed to do what he does. Thank the heavens. I searched high, I searched low. It's not as easy as one would think, okay?
Well, you know what? If I can interrupt you again, that is an important point because it is tax season. A lot of people haven't filed their returns yet. And, I do get emails directly from the IRS and New York State. And a lot of them are warning against, these refund mills. That people, if a tax preparer promises you a high refund, turn around and run, because we cannot promise that. If you're getting a refund, 99% of the time, it's because you've overpaid your taxes. So you're actually getting money back. You're getting your own money back. Sometimes you can get credits, especially this year, because of COVID, because they've expanded, child tax credits, the earned income credit. They've made it a lot easier for a lot more people to qualify. But there are criminal tax preparers out there, so be careful, because when they get caught, and they do get caught a lot, they bring all of their clients with them. All of their clients come under a microscope. There's also, just to mention this because it's important, what they call the offer and compromise mills. Those are those firms that you hear all kinds of commercials for, and maybe not even commercials, but they just take people's information, because an offer and compromise is when you pay less than what you owe. Not everybody qualifies. There's certain what do you call it, things that have to be in place. And so it's easy for somebody to promise you that they're going to wipe out your tax debt and take some of your money and then just disappear. And that's what happens. So just be careful of who you're doing business with. And one thing, Elizabeth, you showed me, you can actually go on the IRS website and see if the person you're doing business with is an enrolled agent or a CPA or an attorney authorized to actually work with the IRS. So that's important.
All that clarifying information it's essential, I think, because it makes it so you can trust who you're doing business with. It makes it so you can trust the information that you're exchanging and going back and forth with. And the other thing that I will say is that if people, it's just a warning, we're getting this ready. We're talking about really important things, right? When you are working with an accountant, when you are working with a financial institution and it is online, guess what? You do not want to share your personal information in emails. You don't want to share information like your bank statements and your social security number or your PTN number or any of those things in an email. That's why more often than not, if you are working with a legitimate bookkeeper, accountant, and financial service, they will have you go to a secure site. They will have you go to a secure portal. They will have something that makes it so your information is protected. So don't start exchanging tax returns in your email. That's going to be a huge risk to you and your clients. And this is where Bedrock Business Builders make sure to engage with our clients using a secure file pro system that makes it so we keep all of our information right where it's supposed to be. It's vaulted, it's protected, it's not going anywhere, right? Because that's important. And now at the beginning of this, I'm just kind of saying all these rules and regulations that the IRS kind of makes because we want to be in compliance and we want to keep it simple. So, Joe, are you ready to share your screen or do you want me to share the
I thought I was sharing it already.
You aren't sharing it. No, we
Oh,
are
okay.
not looking at your screen. We're looking at your pretty face instead.
Well, thank you. So just let me mention, Carrie, thank you for sharing those messages with me. So
Oh,
Carrie, I shared it with everybody. I was like, oh, somebody's giving me a direct message. So if you are trying to put a message in the chat and you want to share it with everybody, there's a little drop down thing. So Carrie, I thought you were sending me some confidential info, but it's something that you want everybody to see. And we do encourage everybody, share your website, your social media, what you do, how we might be able to help you. And that's what it's all about. It's not just about me talking about taxes. That would be pretty dry. I'll try to make it as fun as possible. That's why we have Elizabeth here. She's our CFO, Chief Fun Officer, and she does an amazing job. And it's amazing how much knowledge you have about taxes and what to do and what not to do. I don't know where you're picking all this stuff up from. I
because I
know,
keep good company, Joe.
and I
You
know that your
become
daughters.
you become like the 5 people you hang out the most with. All right. No joke. So pick your favorite 5 with intention. And I like tax law. It's one of the things that I studied when I was in law school. I got an A in that class. That's a strange thing too, right? We talked about strange things we like to do. I definitely enjoy it. And that's why I keep Joe close because I like all the information he's got to share.
I am honored, and now I will start sharing it. First, let me thank everybody for showing up, for attending. If you signed up, if you can't stay for the whole thing, I hope you can. You will get a chance to get the recording. Am I right, Elizabeth? Okay.
Yes, we usually have the recording
Also,
within 24 to 48 hours after the presentation. It'll come in
okay.
your email. But stay, there's lots of things to happen and have fun together.
Yes. I want to thank my team members, especially Janine. All of these, I see that you're here, Janine. I thought I saw you, but all of these slides were designed by Janine. I just give her this is what I want, and then she makes it beautiful. So I've come to rely on my team a lot. I just show up. And I try to share this knowledge that I've acquired. And hopefully you're all going to get something out of it. Hi, Luz. We also have some of our accountants. I see Lou's here. And I just want to mention, we have an amazing accounting team. But Luz, you're supposed to be working right now. I think you were supposed to be working on Kerry's tax returns. So Kerry, if it's delayed, it's because Luz. Now the truth is that I encourage our team members, even if they're on the clock now, to join us, because maybe they'll hear something that they needed to hear, or more importantly, I like to get feedback from them and find out what people like to learn. So that's another thing I want to mention. If there's something that you would like to see or learn in a future presentation, put it in the chat, let Elizabeth know, and I will be sure to include it, because I know what I like to teach, but it's hard for me. I've been doing this for 40 years. It's been a long time. I never had to look for an accountant. I was always in the business. I immersed myself and educated myself. So it's great to hear from somebody that is learning, so that I could teach everybody what they want to learn, if that makes sense. So let's start going through this. This slide used to say who this is for, who this is not for. It's not for anyone that's not here. So that's simple. Who it's for is for people that want to take an active role in the financial side of their business. And that's what we are encouraging now, because I've seen one of the reasons why small businesses fail, I believe, is that they do not spend enough time on, and I know it's not glamorous. It may not be fun unless you're somebody like Elizabeth that loves details and learning about different tax laws. It might not be your favorite subject, but it's essential. It's essential to understand a lot of the things that we're going to cover today. And that's who this is for. So if you want to be proactive in your success, in your business, this is definitely for you. What you're going to leave with, I believe, is a new perspective on some of the things that you can do in your business, some of the laws that are there for you that you could take advantage of, some tax credits, what you can, what you can't deduct, some out of the box crazy deductions that people have taken. I don't think we put those in the slideshow, but I will share some of them with you, because they're interesting in the fact that they are situations where the IRS did not like what taxpayers were doing, but the IRS actually lost in the end, because the IRS is not the final, does not have the final word, believe it or not. That's left to the United States Tax Court. So whether the IRS agrees or disagrees with what I do, I've never lost a case. I have had situations where we had to actually file petitions to go to tax court, but we never actually go there, because the IRS eventually settles with us. So you're going to leave hopefully with some renewed confidence, some information, and hopefully not be so fearful, if you were, about what you can and can't do with the IRS. Now, why you should stay is because I do plan on teaching you. This is not a pitch fest. This is really educational. When I started Bedrock about 3 years ago, it was all about educating small business owners about the financial side of their business. We're going to take you through a step-by-step guide on exactly what you need to do to protect yourself, what you can do to take advantage of the rules and regulations. And also, more importantly, you're going to leave here with stuff that you can actually implement, some of them right away. Another reason is because I'm gonna give you my secret weapon, and it's guaranteed to put fear into the IRS auditors. they don't like when people bring this up because most people don't know it. I know Elizabeth knows it because I taught her this. It's one of her favorite strategies. But let me pose this question to you. Imagine not having the stress of not knowing what to expect. Imagine having some more practical knowledge about your business. Think about what that could do for you. I know, one thing I learned is that fear grips us. When you don't know what you don't know, it's not good. It's not good. It causes high blood pressure, it causes stress, your body tenses up, and the blood isn't flowing to your brain the way it's supposed to do. And if the blood is flowing to your brain, you're more creative, you're more likely to succeed. So that's really my objective. I want to see people succeed. I don't want to see them being held back by what they don't know, what they fear. And I have a talent for making things simple. I think that's one of the things. I see Elizabeth shaking her head. I could take complicated matters and make them simple for you. Uh, how can we protect you? With information, with knowledge, and that's what you're going to leave here with today. So if you don't know who I am, I'm going to give you a brief synopsis, because if you don't know me, you might be saying, who am I to be teaching you this? Who am I to be saying this stuff? Well, this is what I've done over 40 years, over 35 years as a CPA. It actually took me 5 years to get my experience, because there were requirements that you had to meet. One of them was to do auditing for 2 years, and I didn't like auditing. I like taxes. So it took me 5 years to get 2 years worth of auditing experience. In that time, I actually got to work directly with thousands of business owners. I was doing the math one day, and I was amazed. I said, that's a lot of people to be working with directly. And then indirectly, it's probably tens of thousands if I include all the books and records I had to see, secondhand tax returns. And most of my time was spent creating what we call books and records. And most people don't even know what that means. They might have a vague idea, but I'm going to explain what that is, because it's extremely, extremely important. A lot of times people have come to me when they were in trouble. Unfortunately, I've spent a lot of time going head to head with the IRS, banks, insurance companies, because yes, it's not just the IRS, it's not just the federal government, it's the state and local governments and big business. And when they come to me with a problem, we solve it, and then we help them not do it again, if that makes sense. So that's what I've done. This is what I love to do. I love to help people. I love to teach people, and I love it when I see people taking the information that I've shared with them and put it to use and succeed. My goal today is to help you capitalize on tax reduction opportunities. Also credits. We're going to spend some time on, there's a lot of tax credits that are available to businesses and individuals, while I'm making it as simple as I can for you. And like I said, hopefully that'll take away some of your stress and anxiety, and show you how you don't have to lose sleep over worrying about the government. The government isn't here to help you. They're supposed to be. There's an old joke, I'm from the government and I'm here to help you. But they're also not here to destroy businesses. That's not what their goal is. They want people to do business, because when you're doing business, hopefully they hope that you're going to become a loyal taxpayer. So the best problem that people could have with taxes is that they're paying too much.
All right, Joe, I got to interrupt you because you talked about how the the IRS, they're there to scare you. They're there for this, they're there for that, right? But we want to make it simple. We want to make it easy. We want to like not stress our people out, right? And this is where if you take what's called an H breath, you take a breath right in through your nose and your mouth. I'm gonna have Joe, he's gonna take a sip of water. He's also gonna do an H breath. You go, right? You hold it for a second and you go, ah. It makes it so, and the sound, I know the sound, you're like, Elizabeth, what are you doing? Why are you making that weird sound during this presentation? And it's because the sound makes it so your pituitary gland in the back of your head will vibrate. And when it vibrates, it releases oxytocin. And oxytocin is the love hormone, all right? So even if you're a little stressed while you're doing some taxes, if you're a little tense while you're looking at your numbers, you don't have to be, okay? You can take one of those H breaths. I say, let's do one right now together again. We're gonna go in our nose and our mouth all at the same time, hold it, and then do that ah sound, all right? Ah. Ooh, and wiggle it out, roll your shoulders back. We're all gonna be giggling.
I don't see Luz doing this, Elizabeth.
I know, but I gotta lose. She's pinned, all right? She's part of this workshop. Luz, if you want to intercede at any time, please interrupt Joe.
Yes. Anybody can interrupt if they want to ask a question, or if you have any questions, put them in the chat. Thank you for interrupting me, Elizabeth. I was on a roll there. I know you don't like when I talk in the negative, but I just like to prepare people. I just like to get them prepared, especially if they're new in business. I like to sometimes scare people out of going into business if I don't think that they're ready for it. But also I see that we do have a bunch of people that have signed up for our program, and part of the program is, you know, how we do business in the United States. And it's tough. It is tough. It's very, very complex. It's getting even more complex as time goes on. Other outside forces such as technology, things just going on in the economy, in the world, you got to be on your game, okay, if that makes sense. Now, also, what I like to bring out is that the IRS is hiring a lot of people. They're going to be hiring a lot of people. Hopefully it'll improve the system, but it'll also give them more opportunities to look at what we're doing. And if you're following the rules like I lay out here, you have nothing at all to worry about. Okay. And if you have been frustrated with the IRS, with any government interference, if you have found it hard to get ahead, and you feel like you deserve to get some kind of relief, some kind of affordable guidance, you're in the right place. Steve Forbes, if you don't know him, he's got a media empire where he does a lot of financial commentary. He's got Forbes magazine, and he said recently that we are in the regulatory state. What does that mean? It means that compliance is very, very important. Okay. And also, unfortunately, there's way too much to cover. We could probably, you know, the course that we're putting together, my team and I, is going to be over 3 months, 13 weeks. And I don't even think that that's enough time, because not only is there a lot, it's a moving target. Okay. So we're going to cover the, you know, the important topics. And also, if I've covered something and I haven't gone into depth enough, you can always contact us, reach out to us in a bunch of different ways. Elizabeth will explain how you can do that.
I will put our contact information in the chat. I will also say that At one point, Joe had a very open calendar, but Joe's calendar is not so open the way that it used to be, especially since tax season is upon us. But this is where Kareen at bedrockbusinessbuilders.com is incredibly helpful. Or you can email me, even CC at bedrockbusinessbuilders.com. Luz is also available. Luz is our head of accounting, right? So she is Luz at bedrockbusinessbuilders.com. And Joe, well, Joe is Joe at bedrockbusinessbuilders.com. Can't you see that there's a theme? All right. The other theme, I'm not going to tell it because it is the calendar. You're going to have to stay until the end. But Joe, you're right. How many officers are they hiring in the IRS?
So I skipped over a couple of slides there because I've already covered it, but they're hiring over 80,000 agents and officers. And the difference is an agent is somebody that collects taxes. They already know how much you owe, and they're going to go after you, or they're going to try to not go after you. They're going to try to make a deal with you. They're going to try to get you back in compliance. And the auditors are the ones that ask you to bring down your books and records to make sure that you've dotted all your I's and crossed all your T's.
And you know what's cool about the IRS, about these officers and agents and what happens with them is that all of their training materials, all of the publications, all the different things that they learn are actually public knowledge, public record. You can go to the irs.gov website and type in a specific form or type in a specific credit or deduction. And did you know that the irs.gov site will generate a whole bunch of information about it? Now, this is where reading about the details, wanting to check out the fine print is a benefit to you. Except if you don't like doing that, this is where Bedrock Business Builders can be a bigger benefit to you. Because Joe, you've got a top secret thing. Why are we staying to the end?
Okay, so first of all, let me point out, when I say the IRS is out of control, it's really the system. It's the individuals that worked at the IRS, and I know some of them personally. My aunt worked there for over 20 years. These are professionals that have a job to do. And Elizabeth, I hear some people in the background. I don't know where that's coming. It's not from me because I have nobody here but myself. But when I say the IRS is out of control, they're not out there to get us. The people that work there have a job. They're all trained, almost everybody, and I've dealt with them over 40 years. They've all been kind, courteous individuals. All they want is information. Okay. They want to see, and it's their job to make sure that businesses and individuals are in compliance. And that's why they do audits. That's why they do what they do. Even when you owe money, they are not necessarily coming after you. They are giving you ample opportunity to come clean, to make a deal. And I mentioned the offers and compromise. Those are for people that just absolutely can't pay. So they are willing to make a deal. It's not like, let's make a deal. I heard that that's still on TV, but they will make a deal with you because in the end, they want you to be in business and they want you to make money. Now, having your own business provides you with options and opportunities that regular taxpayers just don't have. If you are a wage earner, you get a W-2, there's very limited things you can do. And once you start a business, and you could even turn your hobby into a business. I've done that with my son-in-law because the IRS actually made him a business because of some of the new rules that are coming out. He buys and sells posters online, and because he sells them, the IRS has no idea if he's making money or losing money. So we have to, tell them, look, this is what it's basically a break even if he's lucky. But what happens is because he's using part of his home for the business, his computer, sometimes he's using his car. These are things that he's already paying for. Now they've become business deductions. So it does lower his taxable income. That wasn't his intention. His intention was to buy and sell posters because he likes it. But, and that's one of the reasons why we're doing things like this, to show people that, if you have a hobby, there's ways to make it into a tax write-off. Now, just so you know, I have the same issue. All the stuff that I'm teaching you about keeping books and records, I relate to you because I have to do the same thing. I gave Bedrock accounting over to one of our accounting specialists, and they started asking me questions that we ask our clients for. And it's stuff that you have to do. There's no way around it. But what we want to do is make the best of it. Okay. And so now, again, this is the negative side of it. Audits are going to become the norm. Okay. That's one of the reasons why they're hiring so many new people. They want to be able to audit people. One of the problems at the IRS is that they've been underfunded, and for a long time, underfunded, understaffed. So all they're going to do now is they're going to ask people. So they're going to ask people to fax in their receipts. It's very simple. It's not like it used to be where you made an appointment, you went down with your records. It's all going to be seamless. And if you follow my direction, it's not going to be a problem. It's not going to be something you even have to worry about, because if they do call, you'll be in a position to just provide the information that they want.
That's where we'll be protected, right, Joe?
It is about protection. It's about, protecting yourself, your family, your assets, and you need to be prepared. And that's what we want to do here. We want to help you be prepared. And we have the solutions. That's what we do here. We have a program called the Cfo Program. It starts at only $57 a month for brand new business owners. It's affordable. It was designed that way because too many people are trying to do it on their own. And only because there's just not enough accountants out there. There's not enough of the right information. And we've set out to do, I could never do this on my own. Okay, that's one thing I want to point out. With all my time, all my experience, all my knowledge, I could never do this without my team. So again, I want to thank my team. Now let's get into the crux of this. Now, I did ask Janine, and she did it. She made a workbook so that people could take notes. Okay, a lot of this stuff I might go quickly. You might want to take notes. The one thing I forgot to do is ask Corrine to email it to everybody. So Janine, if you're still here, if you could put the notebook in the chat, or Elizabeth, if you could do it, that would be great. Otherwise, you can do what I do, and I just take notes on Post-its. That works for me. But it would be nicer if you use, Janine did a really good job with it. Now, setting up your business, if you're new to business, I'm going to give you a couple of pointers here. It does take time. You can't rush into things. I know as an entrepreneur, I wanted to go into business and just start making money. Okay, I wanted to sell what I had, whether it was ice cream, scanning services. One time I started a jewelry business, believe it or not. I was trying to bake clay and make it into jewelry. Yeah, Elizabeth, my friend Scott Factor, he's in the jewelry business, and I actually asked him, we were crazy enough to think we could do this, and I'm not a jewelry maker, so that didn't work. Now my accounting business, it's taken decades, literally, and this isn't my first accounting business. I've had 3 different types of accounting businesses. This is my 3rd. And what I've learned is you can't build Rome in a day. Okay, so if you're going into business, if you're in business, give yourself some time, lay out a strategy, invest in yourself. The best investment I ever made was in myself. Uh, my coach, one of my mentors, Larry Broughton, taught me a long time ago, have an advisory board. I have an advisory board. They don't even know that they're on my advisory board, but they're people that I run things by. I don't make any major decisions anymore without putting them uh, by people like Elizabeth, Susan Shepard, my mom. Okay, I still ask my mom for advice, but sometimes you get the best advice from people that have no experience at all. So run things by other people. You know, entrepreneurs, what I've learned is we are insane. We do things that defy logic. The world needs people like us because we do things that nobody else thought was possible. But once in a while, it's good to have people that are going to bring you back down to earth and don't act on all of your ideas. I think Elizabeth can attest to the fact that I don't follow through with all of my ideas, and that's a good thing. Also, learn the financial side of your business. That's what you're here for. Okay, if you know you get caught uh, short, if you say, oh, I didn't know I was supposed to do that, I didn't know I was supposed to file for sales taxes, I didn't know I had to pay payroll taxes on my employees, I didn't know I had to issue 1099s, that's on you. Because once you go into business, it's your responsibility to learn this stuff. It's your responsibility when the day is over. Uh, it's on you. You're the president of your company. Even if you're a one person business, you are the president and you have to take responsibility. And the last thing I'll share with you on this is something that Larry used to say all the time, and I really didn't like it. He said, "You're going to fail. You're going to," and what he meant was that uh, you're going to make mistakes. You're going to make mistakes. You're going to make a lot of them, make them quickly and inexpensively. Uh, but don't beat yourself over the head when you do make mistakes. Okay. Nobody makes more mistakes in my business than me. Okay. I told my friend Luz that a long time ago. I think that made her feel a little bit more comfortable in doing her job because we're in a fast moving world. Accounting, yeah, we deal with numbers, but they're changing every time one of our clients does a transaction, their financials change, and we have checks and balances to make sure that those mistakes don't cause problems for people. So if you're going to be in business, you're going to fail, just do it quickly and don't keep making the same mistakes over. So now let's get into the different types of entities there are, because there's only a few, and only having a few entities it mystifies me in why it's so confusing for people. It's not confusing for me because I've been doing this for so long and I've seen it tens of thousands of times. But there's only a couple of options here. When you first go into business, you're automatically a sole proprietor. You don't get a choice. Okay, the minute you decide to take action on an idea to make money, you are in business and you come under the jurisdiction of all the federal, state, and local laws, whether you know it or not. Okay. You're not in trouble yet, but if you don't realize this, and a lot of people don't realize it, my son-in-law did not realize he was actually in a business. So you're automatically a sole proprietor. Okay. And there's rules that you have to follow. Whether you know it or not, like I said, you're responsible. A partnership is just like a sole proprietor, only there's more than one person. Okay. Now, when you're a sole proprietor and a partnership, you're supposed to file tax returns and report your income and expenses. That's your first responsibility. Okay. If you learn anything and you follow me, you'll know that these are not the preferred ways to do business. Okay. You start out this way, but then you have choices. And a lot of people know they can become an LLC or an LLP, which is a legal entity. It's a separate legal entity, separate and distinct from you. Okay, and they provide legal protection. What do I mean by that? It means that if your business goes under and you have not signed personally, any debts that are owed by the business go away. They can't come after you. They can only go after the assets of the business. Okay, an LLC is a limited liability company, and an LLP is a limited liability partnership. So it's the same thing if you're so the thing to understand with these types of entities is that the IRS does not recognize them. What does that mean? It means the IRS said, okay, you can have a legal entity for legal purposes, and that always comes down to the state level. Okay, all of these entities are created at the state and local level, not at the federal level, and that's important because the state that you live in is the jurisdiction that has all the laws, the rules, the regulations that you have to follow. Okay. So if you're an LLC, meaning you're a limited liability company with only one member, you're considered a sole proprietor for tax purposes. If you have more than one member, you're an LLP, and then you're a partnership for tax purposes. So what does this mean? You know, a lot of people become LLCs now because it's popular. Okay, and there's a lot of misinformation out there. So if you've gone into business and you realize that being a sole proprietor is not the best way to do business, we see a lot of people become LLCs. It's all over the internet. You go on LegalZoom or whatever, these companies, they'll just do whatever you tell them to do. So if you ask them to set up an LLC, they're not going to ask you what you're using it for. And the LLCs and LLPs are great for the right situations. But when you're just going into business, unless you're doing a rental real estate business, which is really a passive activity, if you're doing an active business, if you're selling ice cream, if you're doing marketing, if you're a consultant, you do not want to be a sole proprietor for tax purposes, because there's a couple of reasons. You have to pay 15% self-employment tax on your net profit. That's the first problem. Sole proprietors are under the microscope more because the IRS realizes that sole proprietors usually don't have professional guidance, and they're more likely to make mistakes on their tax returns. So they are audited in a larger percentage than the corporations, which is, if you're in business and you're serious and you want to stay in business, you want to do business as a corporation. So there's really only 4 choices when you look at the sole proprietor, which is over 25 million out of 30 million business owners are still classified as sole proprietors, meaning they haven't made a decision. And probably because it's too confusing. Okay, that's why people, if somebody's confused, they usually don't make a decision. So to me, the only option really is to be a corporation. And then what you want to do is you want to take it a step further and become an S corporation. Now, what is an S corporation? It's another form of a corporation, only you've taken another step, and you want to tell the IRS that you want to be treated as a small business corporation. You cannot be an S corp under certain circumstances. You can't have more than 100 shareholders. That's usually not a problem. You can't be a foreigner. You got to be a U.S. citizen, but it's the preferred way to do business if you are a single shareholder, and that's why you should have one. That Social Security tax that I said, if you're a sole proprietor or a partnership, that goes away on your net profits. Okay, so if you have $10,000 in net profit as an S corp, you pay zero self-employment tax. If you're a sole proprietor, you pay 1,500. Let's say it's 20,000, you double it. Now, some professionals will tell you that, well, you're supposed to take a salary. Well, there's no, cut and dry guidance on how much of a salary you have to take. It's based on the facts and circumstances of your business. Okay, if you start making money, real profits, then yes, you have to take a salary, but you are in control of that. And that's what an S corp gives you. It gives you more options, more control. Okay. And some of the other misinformation out there, and this comes from the IRS, the Small Business Administration, they promote sole proprietors because they say it's simple. It's the simplest form of doing business. Well, yeah, it's simple, and you don't even have a choice. You don't have a choice. You don't decide, oh, I want to, when you go into business, you don't say, oh, I want to be a sole proprietor. You are a sole proprietor. So yeah, it's simple, but guess what? It's not that simple to be in business to begin with. And they use things like, well, you're supposed to have a board of directors meeting every year. Well, if you're the only shareholder, you're on the board of directors, that means you got to have a meeting with yourself every year. And to me, that being a reason is just, it's insane. Like, that's not a reason not to be an S corp. Yeah, you have to file a separate tax return. Well, a business, a sole proprietor, has to file a Schedule C. Yeah, it's more complicated. You have to, probably have an accountant do your books. But if you don't have an accountant, you probably shouldn't be in business. That's what Larry Broughton says all the time. It's like, if you can't afford to have an accountant, then you probably shouldn't be in business. And that's the truth. So I equate it to buying a car. When you buy a car, you have to have car insurance. You don't say, oh, I'm not going to get car insurance because I don't want it, I can't afford it. You factor that into the equation. And that's
So,
the
Joe,
story.
all this information is great, but you know what people always ask? It's going to come up right now. It's, what can I deduct, Joe? Why am I going to do this?
So let me make this simple for you, because this is the most asked question and probably the least relevant that new businesses ask. What can I deduct? And the real question is, what can't you deduct? Because it's a short list of what you can't deduct. What you can deduct is anything that is ordinary and necessary in your business. That's my secret weapon. That's section 162. Okay, that's the, what I told you have to stay till the end for. You don't have to stay till the end for that. Now, I just told you what you could deduct is relative to what your business is, as long as you can make an argument for the fact that you needed this to run your business. For instance, and now I'm going to give you a couple of those out of the box tax deductions that the IRS didn't like, but they still got allowed by the tax court. One business owner decided that she wanted to deduct her cat food and vet bills, and the IRS didn't like it. Well, what she presented to the tax court was that she had a junkyard, and the cats actually kept the rats and the snakes out. So that her customers wouldn't have a problem walking through the junkyard, and the tax court, well, that seems like it's necessary. So she actually got to deduct cat food and vet bills.
But
One
Joe,
couple,
what about the gas station that gave a free beer every time somebody filled up?
yeah, so the IRS didn't like that either. They said, oh no, this is, you can't deduct beer. And the IRS didn't like it, but the tax court said, no, it was a promotional product.
Yeah, so it was like
So,
advertising, right?
but if you think about it, they were promoting people drinking and driving. So you don't
I
don't
know,
want to
but
give
that's just
away.
how wild it can get, and how much it's a matter of interpreting it, right? And it's a
Right,
matter of
right.
showing that you're actually providing what you're deducting, like your business and your records and your costs.
The thing was that this brought more people to the station, and that, when you're doing something for profit, uh, if you could prove that this is going to help you in your business to make money, then they're going to allow it. And like I said, the IRS at their level might not like it, but they lose in tax court all the time. Now, it's easier to talk about what you can't deduct, those things that are obviously personal. Okay, if you're paying your mother-in-law to watch your children, you can't deduct that unless you actually put her on the payroll, which you can. If so, somebody, paid somebody to watch her children. Now, this was for so she could do charitable events, and the court let her deduct the cost of hiring a babysitter as a charitable donation. Okay, but if you hire somebody, if you could prove that you need somebody to watch your children so that you can do your business, I believe that would be deductible. You
So,
can't write off your
but
haircuts. Go
I got
ahead.
a question, Joe, about that real quick, about the child care thing. So in your business, you could potentially deduct it as a business cost because it's labor, right? But at the same time, there's the child tax care credit. And with that, that's for personal, right? The child tax care credit is for your personal taxes. So under business income, it could be deducted as a business purchase, but
It
then under
could.
your personal taxes, can it then be a credit to you?
So we're going to actually talk about some of the credits in the next slide, but let me just finish.
Mhm.
What you can't deduct are things that are personal in nature. If you're going on a vacation, you can't deduct it. If you're going on a family vacation, you can't deduct it. Your groceries, your entertainment, you can't deduct entertainment anymore. Your country club fees, if you're in a country club, you specifically can't deduct that. You can't deduct your makeup, your shoes, your clothes, unless it's a uniform. So the list of what you can't deduct is actually very small when you think about it. But if it's obviously personal in nature, you can't deduct it. Now let's talk about some of the credits that you can take. And it's a long list, and that's why I put it into the chat. We don't have enough time to go through all of them. But yeah, so on the individual level, there's some really interesting tax credits. You can get up to $3,000 just for having a child. So my daughter, I have two new grandchildren, and I told my son-in-law, I'm like, oh, your daughter's going to put $3,000 in your pocket, and he said, well, that doesn't cover everything. So it's not, don't have a child just because you're going to have a child tax credit, but you will get one. You could also, like Elizabeth said, if you're paying somebody for childcare, you can get a credit for child independent care. Okay, it's up to 20% of what you pay, up to $6,000. So that means you can get up to a $1,200 credit. Now, also let me mention, these are federal credits. Sometimes, depending on the state that you're in, a lot of times they mirror what you can get on the federal. So like in New York State, I believe you can get up to $300 for child and dependent care credits. So, you know, that's a pretty good amount to offset what it cost you for the child care credit. Now, that's if you're working. You can't just, if you're not working, if you have no earned income, you can't just hire somebody to watch your kids and get a tax credit. If you have a child and now they've expanded what I said was the earned income credit, they've expanded who can qualify. Not only who can qualify, they've raised the income limits. They actually gave you an option of going by 2019 or 2020 income. So let's say for 2021, you made a lot of money, more than you made in those other years during COVID. They're going to let you get the earned income credit based on those lower income years. Okay, so there's a bunch of other credits. Another one that I really like is the savings credit. And what that is if you contribute to an IRA or you have an employer sponsored pension plan, you can get a credit for saving money. Now, on the employer side and the business side, there's credits for, let's say, research and development. Now, what is research and development? Part of it could be if you're creating software for your business. We've created a software program for Bedrock where we keep track of, our clients' tax returns that are due, a place to store information, and we are entitled to a research and development credit. Also, if you're an employer and you pay for health insurance for your employees, you can get a credit. If you set up a pension plan for your employees, you can get a credit. So one of the things that, I mentioned, I think in a mastermind group that we have a couple of weeks ago, is the scenario where you could actually hire your children. Okay. I mean, if you think about it, my granddaughters could be hired as spokesmodels for my son-in-law's business. Okay, it's not that far out of reach, because if you look, there's a bunch of children that are making a lot of money in commercials. Also, yeah, Yvette, I think we are going to talk about cash reporting, if that's what you were asking in the chat. But think about this scenario. You hire your child, you pay them $12,500 a year. You have to pay the payroll taxes, which is about, let's say, 18% of the $12,500. Okay. If you're in a high tax bracket, let's say you're paying 40%, that's a net gain of 22%, because you're going to get a tax write-off for that 12.5, and your child gets a standard deduction. So they pay no taxes and you save 22%. On top of that, they can do an IRA. So think about this. If they do an IRA, they can get up to a $3,000 tax credit and pay no income taxes. If you set up a pension plan, you can get the tax credit and they get a tax. I mean, it's really, for people in the right situation, it's a great strategy. I don't know too many people that have done it, but it's out there if you think about it. Okay, next. So also, like I said, I put all of the different credits that are available in the chat. Now what we're going to talk about is bulletproofing your business. Okay, so we've covered tax credits, what you can deduct, what you can't deduct, some of the out of the box deductions that other people have taken. Now, what I'd like to do is spend some time on how to stay under the radar. I call it hiding in plain sight. And what that means is that you're free to do your business the way that you want without worrying about if somebody knocks on the door and asks for your books and records. Let me explain what books and records are for a minute. And what they are basically is they tell the story of your business. It's all of the information, all of the documentation that makes up your business, from your, articles of incorporation, if you're a corporation, if they're your articles of organization, if you're an LLC, that's where it starts. Your books and records are your bookkeeping. Your QuickBooks, your accounting software is not your books and records. The information in there is a compilation of your transactions, and they make up part of your books and records. Your receipts are a big part of your books and records. So you got to know how to keep your receipts, what receipts to keep, and we're gonna cover that in a couple of more slides. Your legal structure will help you bulletproof your business. Like I mentioned, if you're a corporation, you're a lot less likely to be audited. If you have a tax professional doing your tax return, you're a lot less likely to be audited. And it's all about making sure that you're in compliance. And forget about the IRS or the government asking for your records. You should have this stuff in order because it's good business practices. Okay. Again, books and records are all of that information. It's the documentation. Now, how do you keep them? There's a lot of different ways to keep them. The IRS actually is a publication 583, which you can Google, you can download it, and they give you this whole long discussion of what books and records are and how you can keep them. And at the end, they put in fine print that the IRS cannot dictate how anybody keeps their books and records. In other words, what they give you is just a suggestion. As long as your books and records clearly show what you've reported on your tax return, you're good to go. Okay. Believe it or not, I've used pictures of clients working on projects, on real estate, to prove that, hey, they actually spent money and time, on their apartment buildings. Any way that you can prove it is good. It's easier if you give it to them in an organized manner. In other words, if you have a balance sheet and profit and loss statement, and then that's backed up with what they call a general ledger. And then last but not least, they want to be able to see, let's say if you have car and truck expenses, that they could pick out any one of those numbers that you put into your financial statement and ask you for the receipt. Okay, so now let's talk about receipts. Believe it or not, there's something called a de minimis rule. It's right here. The de minimis rule says that, the IRS doesn't want to be bothered with small items. And so the de minimis rule is $75. If it's less than $75, you do not need to keep a paper receipt. All you need to do is document it. Now, we've designed an Excel spreadsheet where we document the expenses. That becomes part of your books and records. Also, let me mention something called accountable plans, which has to do with writing off your home office expenses. How are you going to prove that part of your utilities, part of your rent is deductible. Okay. First of all, they're deductible when you say they are, not when the IRS says they are. When you say, I am using this for business and I can back it up with this paperwork, it's a deduction. I don't care what any IRS agent says. I've told you, I've gone up against them and challenged them to, I'll show this to a judge in tax court, and they back down because they know that when push comes to shove, all you have to do is document it. Okay, so the way that we document it with Office in the Home again is a spreadsheet. It's a simple spreadsheet. We put in the square footage of the home, we put in the square footage of the part that's used for business, and they would literally have to disprove that what we're presenting is not accurate. So I've had agents that, my clients took accurate, detailed records of their car expenses. And they said, okay, so 80% of my car expenses are for business. They would go through the journal, which was done exactly how the IRS says they want it done. Okay, and they would say, I'll give you 30%. Now, this was in an audit. And I was shocked in the beginning when I first started doing audits. And I'm like, well, how do you come up with that? They were like, how do we know that what your client wrote down was for business? That's not right. I'm like, because he said it was for business, and we wrote down exactly what we're supposed to write down. In every case, the agent backed down because they knew that they didn't have a leg to stand on. All they were trying to do was leverage. Okay. Now, for somebody that had no experience, they might have gotten away with that. But the truth is that if you say it's for business and you have the documentation, it's for business. Okay. If you have the documentation, they would have to disprove your testimony. And that's another thing that you can actually use affidavits and outside testimony from other people. Elizabeth knows the rules of whatever they call it, right? The rules of evidence. When it comes down to it, any kind of information that proves that this was a business deduction is admissible. Okay, so how do you want to keep your records? Today, everything is digital, mostly everything. And if you're getting paper, it's probably backed up with some kind of email receipt. Having it in your email or on your desktop somewhere isn't organized. What we do is, well, being transparent, I can't say that we're doing this right now, but what we're supposed to do. Yeah, I have organized file systems, but I don't have them in the format that I'm going to show you next. What's organized? Again, any way that you want to organize it, you can organize it alphabetically, you can organize it by date. What you want is something where you can retrieve the information quickly. And this is how you can retrieve it quickly in a digital system. So what I'm showing you here is an example of what I've used for clients in the past. So right here, we have the initials of the company, XYZ, what category it was, the date, and the amount. So if you're familiar with Google, if you have this in a Google folder, and you're saying, oh, I want to see all the receipts I have under repairs, you do a search and you will find all of the receipts you have that were in the repair category. Same with dues and subscriptions. This is a very effective, efficient way to do it.
Can you just describe all these numbers and letters for a second again, Joe?
Yeah, sure.
Just,
So also, usually these are kept in PDF file format. So it would also be at the end .pdf. That's the preferred way to keep them. Those are portable document format. If you're familiar with Adobe, you can easily print anything into a PDF format. You could change it into a PDF format. There's programs out there that'll do that. But in this example, again, this is just my example. You can name it any way you want. When I say name it, every document is a file and they all have a name. Okay, if you scan a document, it usually comes out with a bunch of numbers and letters that make no sense at all. If you get an invoice from a vendor, it's probably the same thing. It's got some kind of name that doesn't make any sense at all. Your naming convention makes it have sense, makes it organized. So in these two examples, this would be XYZ company, that's the vendor. I put a dot in there to separate it. Repair is the category. Again, I put a dot in there. This is the date, that's February 22nd, 2022. So if I want to find something by date, I just have to put that date in there. And then the last thing is the amount. Same thing here. This is ABC vendor. Dues and subscriptions is the category. The date is March 31st, 2022, and the amount is $45. So why did I do this? Because when I had a construction client that literally had thousands of documents every month. And when I went there, everything was in paper files. It was impossible to find anything. It was just too voluminous. There was no real organization to it. So we just started, and it took a while. We started scanning everything that came in as paper. Anything that came in digitally, we would do this naming convention. Now, it did take a little bit of time to do that, but it was more than worth it in the long run. Because if we had to find an insurance contract, if we had to find the truck repair, a loan payment, all we had to do was we did a search and it worked. Does that cover it, Elizabeth?
Oh yeah, Joe, that was perfect. I have to admit, when I was going through the slides, I just asked Janine, I was like, what is this upcoming slide? And the fact that you describe it, it makes perfect sense. It blows my mind, actually. I'm thrilled about it.
I figure, that's one of the things that make you strange in a good way. Not everybody's interested in this, and I understand this. This is why people shy away from the financial side of their business. But unfortunately, when you think about it, and like I said, forget about the fact that the IRS is hiring 80,000 people. Forget about the fact that you need books and records in case somebody asks you. And it's not just if you're going for a loan for your business, they're going to want to see certain information, and you got to be able to put your hands on it. If you want to apply for insurance, they're going to ask you for information. Okay. But besides that, this is a good way to run your business. You invest a little bit of time in education, setting these systems up. I don't know if Susan is here, but we have an expert in setting up systems and procedures in your business. And that's, again, that goes back to what we do at Bedrock. Everything, when it comes down to it, is, we try to systematize every type of transaction. So if we're doing something, and that's pretty much it when it comes to the information here. But it's a good segue into how our CFO program works. We don't just crunch numbers. If you see my team, if you know about the mastermind group meetings we have every week. I know Ray's a loyal customer, happy customer. Carrie's a happy attendee. And what we do in that mastermind group every week, and Elizabeth hosts it for us. Thank you, Elizabeth. We learn. We learn about business. We learn about each other. We learn about what we all need. So during the mastermind, we'll play a game called Jeopardy. You want to explain what Jeopardy is, Elizabeth?
Right. So Jeopardy has categories and numbers, and it's to keep us on track on the board, but we don't really pay attention to getting the numbers. But each category, each box has a question, and the question is to make it so you are thinking about your business. You're thinking about what kind of credits are available, what kind of deductions are available. You're actually applying the knowledge in the moment. And then if you are able to answer the question, you can then ask a burning business question. And a burning business question makes it so you then have the floor. You can ask whatever you like, whether it be business. Sometimes people ask personal questions. You can ask marketing questions. And then the whole room will discuss it. And I think that's the biggest benefit of the mastermind is, yes, I'm playing Jeopardy and I'm having you think outside of the box and learn a whole bunch of different things in the background. And it makes it so you get comfortable talking about your business. And I think that's really important too. And we do have a Jeopardy board. We can play today, and it will cover things that we have learned. It'll go a little more in depth to some things, right? Because that's the whole idea, is that we want to learn with each other. And Bedrock is like having your own accounting department. It's not like, it is having your own accounting department. In fact, Bedrock is expanding in such a way that makes it so if one of us doesn't have an answer, I'm sure somebody else will have the answer, right? Like, I know that there are times where I can't do everything, I can't answer everything. Today, here's a perfect example. I'm sharing the screen, so Joe didn't have to, but I didn't have the ability to then go in the background and get all my links. So do you know what I did? I was in the background on my phone getting the links, and then Janine, because she's a sweetheart and helps whenever she can, especially since she is the one who makes us all look like superheroes, went in the chat and shared the links that I was sharing with her. All right, so make sure you go to that ... and you save the chat, because all the different things that Joe is talking about, whether it be the de minimis rule or the fringe benefit de minimis rule or the rules of evidence or the credits and deductions that he mentioned. The IRS has publications on all of them, and I didn't put them in the chat. Janine put them in the chat, because Bedrock Business Builders is a whole team. We are an accounting department.
Yes. And before I go any further, Elizabeth, I see Yvette was asking some questions. She says she's in Texas. I love Texas. I have some really good friends in Texas. We have some clients in Texas. So yes, your answer is we do work with Texans. We even work with Canadians. You know, Ray Cousins is from Canada, but we work with people from all over the country, all 50 states, Canada, and in fact, we have a client in New Zealand, one from the UK who's moving to Dubai. So, you know, we're an international firm now, right, Elizabeth?
That is correct, Joe. We are an international firm, and we also are a firm that looks for affiliates. So Janine will put that link in the chat as well. Ray in the chat, he mentioned it, how sometimes maybe you have an accounting firm, or maybe you do bookkeeping, right? But you don't know how to incorporate corporations. You don't know how to do taxes, or you don't want to do taxes. Or say that you have a bookkeeping firm and you're getting too many clients and you can't do all of it at once. Well, guess what? This is where you have the ability to refer those clients that might not necessarily be ideal for your business. Maybe they don't have the ability to pay $300 or $500 or $600 a month for bookkeeping services. Well, that's marvelous, because then you can refer them to Bedrock, and we can then give you an affiliate fee and still make it so you're taking care of people that you need to take care of. Joe often says that a referral is the best compliment we could possibly have. And not, where are we going with this, Joe?
So yeah, you pointed out, and I said this before, I'm not Bedrock. We are a team. We work together. We work very well together. We're cohesive. We're all on the same page. And the bottom line is we're about serving our clients. And that's why, every client gets their own accounting specialist. We got some world-class accountants, Luz, Tisha, Carmela, and like you said, we keep growing. I'm losing track of that Janine. Yeah, she made us all into superheroes, and I think she's finding it harder to fit us all into the team photo. So hopefully we'll keep adding team members. Not hopefully, I know we will. But each client gets their own accounting specialist. Why is this important? Because we want them to have a personal one-on-one relationship with every client. Every client is unique. We could have 100 people in the doctor business. We could have 100 consultants, but they're all unique. They all might run their business a little bit differently. They might all use different kinds of platforms. So by creating this personal relationship, we could do our job better. There's only so many people I can handle. Our business has grown out of the point where I can, handle each client individually. I do meet with each client, but there's way too many details, way too many things going on. And the accounting specialist helps us keep everything up to date, so that when it comes to me, when I meet with our clients, I'm looking at things like their cash flow. Are they paying too much in taxes? Is there something else that they can be doing? Sometimes I have some ideas on how they can maybe get some new clients. Maybe they want to sign up as an affiliate. And another thing is we have a network of other accountants, because we don't do everything. We specialize in small businesses, right? So,
That's true, Joe. And this is where our accounting specialists, they're micromanaging your business, your accounting, your bookkeeping. They're looking at those little details. They actually will know the most about your business with that micromanaging. And this is where Joe is looking at the bigger, broader picture and making it so you can get the most out of that micromanagement with things. And Joe, don't we have a special going on? So it's 57, and this is not to give you everybody a pitch fest. We know that it's 57 for the CFO, but really because you've stayed to the end and you're here and you're with us, I want you to know also that Joe, are we still doing this 3 months free? This makes my heart palpitate.
You let the cat out of the bag, but I still have a couple of more slides to go through.
Oh, do you, Joe? All right.
This one we've beat this to death almost. We're here to protect you, minimize your taxes, and just make it more fun. We want you to have fun in business. It shouldn't be stressful. And like I said, we designed our business for brand new business owners, people that have been in business maybe for a couple of years, have questions, or if you've been in business for a while, like Susan, who's been in business for, a very long time. She's learned a lot, and she still has questions. I got the chance to meet with Susan and her accounting specialist the other day, and it was fascinating, because after all this time, I said, you know what? You're still asking great questions, and we had solutions. And this is our team. This is our team right now. We've given Luz and Tisha new special titles because they earned it and they deserve it. Luz is our director of accounting. On the bottom, we have Janine, who is a design guru. She has she came in as somebody that we wanted to design graphics, and now she's taken over the whole marketing department, doing our website. Tisha is the person that asked me questions that I wish she wouldn't ask me, but she has to because she's doing a job. And, it's those questions that we don't know about that gets us into trouble. And what Tisha has done for me, for us, is things like, I just signed up for something called Doc Hub. Okay. And that's a great, PDF program where we can actually get our clients to sign electronically. Well, she said, well, we signed up for the same program with another company like 6 months ago. So we were able to get, and that's just me being an entrepreneur. We have Josephine, our latest accounting specialist. Charlene recently joined us. We have Carmela, who's doing a great job. Susan and Linda are a software developer, and Corrine, who helps us keep everything together. So that's our team. And yes, we do have this CFO program. It's cutting edge. There is no other program like it out there. And that's right. If somebody signs up now, before we change our mind, it's going to be 3 months free. Okay. And that's an unbelievable deal, because if you think about it, there's no commitment. There's no contract. You could quit in any time, right, Elizabeth?
That's true. You can quit at any time, and we actually keep your records for a time within our system. It's not like we just get rid of them. You can ask us questions. However, if you keep asking us questions, we're going to say you should be part of the CFO package. I don't know why you stopped. We enjoyed having you here. It's important to maintain your books and your records, right? It's not just something that's done during tax season. It's actually something that should be done all year round. And that's the biggest benefit to Bedrock Business Builders and this CFO package, is that you are not doing your bookkeeping right at the end of the year. In fact, our clients that wind up doing that, like say they're when you're a chipmunk and you just like put all the nuts in your mouth and hold it like a squirrel. Some people like to do that. And then it's almost like you're like regurgitating everything all at once, and it's exhausting. But instead, we get to do it month by month. We ask you for your statements. We go through the reconciliation of your accounts. That's where Thisha is able to pick up the idea or pick up on things that, hey, you are paying for way too many subscriptions to too many of the same services. What are you doing? And that's where businesses can really save a lot of money, because it's called grabbing the low-hanging fruit. And when you grab the low-hanging fruit, what you do is you get rid of things that are not necessary for your business, and then you really focus on what is generating the most income for your business. When you can look at your books and records that way, you can see, hey, did you know that I sold this one service at this rate 10 different times, and it took me, 20 minutes to sell that service, and it gives me the most benefit? That's the benefit of a P&L. That's the benefit of looking at your numbers that way. And that's what Bedrock is helping you do, because it brings an awareness to it that you're not afraid of it. In fact, you start to embrace your records. You start to embrace your books, because you know that if you're looking at them, if you are going over them, then you're going to see all the benefits of what you're doing. We've got reasons for being part of Bedrock Business Builders, 10 of them.
Yes.
We've got extra bonuses. Oh, we've got your book, Joe. I want to get into your party. That's why I'm starting to fly through your.
Okay, I was just looking at some of the questions. I think I answered that. I think Carrie had a question about deducting personal expenses on your business. Oh, no. Okay. This is a good question, Carrie. She's asking if she can deduct personal, I'm sorry. purchases made with her personal account? And the answer is yes, especially when you first start out. You don't usually have a business account. What we try to do is ease you out of that and show you how to, set up your business account and start doing everything through your business. But initially, if you are paying for business expenses, we'll show you how to identify them and get them on your business return. And then if you, sometimes by accident, sometimes by you don't have a choice, you pull out, you only have one credit card and it's your personal credit card, we always pick those up. Okay. And we have ways of doing that. Yes. So if there's any other questions, you can. Okay. So Yvette, yes. So we do have different rates. If you want to book a chat with me, we can go through that. What the $57 deal is introductory, but if you're a business that really doesn't have a lot of transactions, I would say that most of our clients, Elizabeth, are on that end of the spectrum, right?
Yes, most of our clients are on that end of the spectrum. When you have more accounts and more transactions, and there's businesses that have their personal account, their business account, and a credit card account, right? That's 3 accounts. That's easy peasy lemon squeezy. That should be the way that it is done for the most part when you first start. But there are businesses that have 5 and 10 and 15 accounts. And of course, the CFO package will then range at different costs because you're doing more transactions and you have more accounts, right? So there is the ability to modify the package as you see fit. And this is where you've got to book time to talk with Joe. And that's timewithjoe.com. When you do that, I'm going to warn you right now, when you book a call with Joe, you are going to get an email for Karine, and Karine is going to say, thank you for booking time with Joe. As you do this, we need you to answer this questionnaire. And the questionnaire gives us the ability, number one, to enter you into our secure Bedrock software that makes it so we actually have this whole client file for you. So when Joe meets with you, he can read the client file and he can give you the most up-to-date, best advice that's possible while saving time. Then from there, it makes it so we can tell you what we can do, what we can't do, what you should do, right? And the onboarding process becomes so much easier because there is an onboarding process. I talked earlier when we first started about how you shouldn't be sending your personal financial information through your email. This is where we set you up with the Secure File Pro system within Bedrock, and you wind up getting all that stuff. So you know that your information is being protected throughout this entire time. That is our goal, is to protect your information, whether it's the client questionnaire when you're first starting, because that goes into a secure system, or whether it's when you're uploading your statements. All that stuff is there. The other thing that there was a question is if we could cover about cash apps. Because yes, there are multiple ways for you to take in money to your business, right? There's Cash App, there's PayPal, there's Wise, right? Wise transfer is an international way to take in money. When you are doing that, more often than not, those Cash Apps are connected to specific accounts. Now, some of them can only be attached to your personal accounts. Others can only be attached to your business accounts, or they can be attached to both. So there has to be an awareness to it. And this is where when Bedrock is looking at your monthly recurring purchases or your recurring income, we are reconciling that and asking you those questions. Is this income? Is this not income? Is it personal? Is it business? And all of those things are important. To go into more and more detail about what each Cash App does, I highly recommend coming to the mastermind, which is from 11:30 to 1 EST on Fridays. This is where we have the Jeopardy board, and you can ask as many burning business questions as you'd like about those different types of things, and we definitely go into detail about them.
Oh, yeah.
Um,
We go down some rabbit holes sometimes, right?
for sure, we go down some rabbit holes. In fact, I've
But
got some.
how do they register for the mastermind, Elizabeth?
So registering for the mastermind is mastermind with joedechara.com. All
Actually, it's
right.
Mastermind with Joe. I shortened it.
You shortened it. Oh my goodness
Mastermind with
gracious.
Joe.com. It was available, so I took it. If I could just chime in on two things. You mentioned about the security, and I totally skipped over that in bulletproofing your business. Uh, I am getting a lot of emails about scams from the IRS, from New York State, about different things that people are doing. Unfortunately, they want to get your information. And they are coming after accountants because we have a lot of the information. That's why we stress, how we protect our clients' information. It's very, very important. The other thing on the subject of the accounts, because that also ties into protecting your business. The more accounts you have, the more vulnerable you are. And one of the great things, it's like a side benefit that I didn't even think of, but we're looking at actually how you're structuring your business, how you're doing business by looking at all your accounts. And we've had people come in using 15 credit cards, right? And we're like,
Yes.
no, you have to get that down. That's not a good way to run your business. It's a bad way to run your business.
It's an
you know,
overwhelming way to run your business. I think that's really what it is. And I know that when I first went to college, there was table after table after table set up walking into the student room, like the student orientation center. And those tables were all for credit card companies. Right.
yeah. So
That is how we are taught more often than not, right from the get-go, is like you need credit. But at the same time, that's not the best way for you to build your credit. And within what we're doing with looking at your accounts is we want to make sure that you can build your credit, right? Like
yeah, and we do work with other people on things like helping clients get mortgages, helping fix their credit, getting business loans. We might not do that directly, but we do have trusted people that we work with. And so this is the bonus, Elizabeth, unless you have something else to add to that. But I did tout the S Corp, and I know that you have copies that you could send to people that want the whole scoop about S Corps and why they might want it.
I do, Joe.
So Yvette, you have a couple of questions. I think that you might want to book a chat with me. I'd be glad to answer those. And
I went serious. So Joe, do you think we can play a rapid round of Jeopardy? Because I took away our
Sure.
spotlights.
Sure.
Right? Yeah.
I'll stop
Okay.
sharing. How do I stop sharing my screen? I still don't know how
Joe,
to.
you haven't been sharing your screen this whole time. I've been sharing my screen and following with you.
Oh my
I just
God.
I just didn't want to get it complicated, so I didn't let you know.
So I'm going through. Okay. Thank you, Elizabeth. That's teamwork.
But that's why sometimes I don't know if the slides weren't matching up with where you wanted to be, but that was why.
I was wondering about that, but that's good. Thank you.
You're welcome. So here's our Jeopardy board. We've got deductions, planning, credits, not funny, true or false. Now on the mastermind, sometimes we have things like news and we have things about celebrities. One time I had a topic that was sexy business. You can see in the bottom here that this is our 49th board. All right. We do this each Friday, but because this is a workshop, I wanted to stick it to what we just learned and covered. We do have not funny because I think I'm a comedian, but I'm really not. And then we have true or false. If you want to undo your video or your camera real quick, shout out where you want to go on the board. We're going to do this in a rapid round. Raymond Cousins, I see you. You asked a question about racketeering, but bring that to the mastermind because racketeering, we do have some clients for that. And Joe has some experience with working with Neither here nor there.
Well-
Where are we going on the board?
You guys are racketeers too. You're in the protection racket, just like me.
Uh-huh. So where are we going on the board, Raymond? Can you see it or can you not? Because I know you're on your phone.
Rico for 100.
Rico for 100. I don't even have that. I'm gonna give you credits for 100. All right.
All right.
What is an energy saving credit?
Solar roof panels.
Oh, Ray knows that one.
We're
Uh-huh.
getting it, right, Joe?
Did you? You should be, yeah. The check's in the mail. You got a nice one.
Yeah.
So that was one of those amended returns, Elizabeth. Ray said, hey, I did these and it was legitimate. Yeah, the check should be in the mail, Ray.
We're looking for it.
That's
I know.
exciting.
I know. Well, you're not going to get it if you're in Las Vegas, so.
Oh dear. I'll pick it up when I get to Denver.
So what that was Ray put solar panels on his roof a couple of years ago. He never took the credit and we filed an amended return. He's getting back a nice chunk of change.
Ooh, see, that's sweetness right there. And that's the benefit of coming to the mastermind and chit-chatting with us, because that's where we learned that he had those solar panels. And then he is a CFO client and we have been doing his taxes. So yeah, that's, it's the 5 people that you hang out with most, sometimes they can just provide you with extra income.
I think Ray's in a big net gain with this. I think that he's gotten more money back than what he's paid us. So
Why
I
not?
hope that
that's sweetness right there, because if you become an affiliate of Bedrock and you refer clients to us, it is possible to make more money as an affiliate than you do paying for services. It's just
that's
how
right,
you
right.
work in the system.
Ray's
follow the
getting
New
an affiliate.
Jersey- I follow the New Jersey logic. Anything's legal as long as you don't get caught.
All right, where else are we going on this board? Lou, shout it out. Where are we going on the board?
True or false for 300.
She's going big.
Liz, you're supposed to be doing Carrie's tax return.
She's been spotlighted this whole time. I think she has been doing work while she was spotlighted. It was very impressive, I've got to say. But this is where, is it true or false? Does Bedrock Business Builders help with monthly bookkeeping and corporation taxes and tax issues?
True.
Yeah, true. Woot, woot.
Oh, that was a tough one.
That was like a
I'm so
sneaky
laughing.
promotional thing in the board. Carrie, where are we going on the board?
Let's do deductions for 200.
All right. Can you write off continued education courses as a business expense?
Yes.
Absolutely yes.
Woohoo. All right.
Oh, Raymond, I'd high five you.
Thank
Virtual
you.
high fives. Yvette, do you want to say where we want to go on the board? This is where any of the 22 people in here in the room, you can play your party. All right. You can tell us
My
where we're going.
eyesight's not too good. I'll take plumbing for 100.
Let me-
Oh, that's planning. Sorry.
Really? All right.
So Yvette, you could type it in the chat and I'll yell it out for you.
What is an HSA and why does it matter?
It's something account.
That's a health for your health.
Health savings account.
Yep.
All right. And why does it matter?
Because it's free money and you can roll over the unused part at the end of the year.
It's tax-free money, all right? It's an account that you can use to spend on medical expenses. Now, normally you can't really deduct medical expenses, or you don't, you usually pay it out of your personal income that's already been taxed. But if you have a business and you create an HSA, it is money that is put into an account before it's been taxed. It doesn't get taxed. It can be spent on medical expenses, and it can be rolled over. Now, mind you, there are companies that do different ones, so you've got to pay attention to that fine print, but it can be beneficial in part of your financial planning. Dun, 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 dun.
So Yvette wants planning for 300.
All right. When planning a trip, how can you turn it into a business expense?
Overnight travel, 100% deductible. Hotels, gas, food.
Well, not if
Everything.
you're going to Las Vegas to gamble, Ray. Unless you're a professional gambler.
I'm here on business.
Okay.
Yeah, he's
Then
gone
it's
to a
a
networking event.
Everything I do is business. I have no persona.
That's on record. It's been recorded. All right. He is there for business purposes. In fact, while he's on this trip, he's on a networking event right now.
Yes.
All right.
That means his car expenses is deductible.
Mhm.
And my
Oh.
cell phone service.
Ooh.
Yes. All right, we got to finish by 3 p.m., Elizabeth.
Let rapid round. Okay. That's it. What is the saver's credit?
So I just covered this. That's when you put money into a retirement plan and you get a credit on your tax return. It's like you're paying, the IRS is subsidizing your retirement. I love that one.
I like the saver's credit. Let's go to not funny. What does a pelican, a vulture, and the IRS all have in common? Carrie, I see that face. Do you know
Right,
what?
I'm like, it's
They're
all to
dead
the
nosy.
birds. I don't know.
A big bill.
Ah.
That's a good one.
See, I
Got
got
that
that.
from
So
Bella.
I got that right. So I'm going to have credits for 300.
All right. What is the lifetime learning credit? This is
That's when you're going for a degree
mhm.
and you get a credit. It doesn't matter how, there's no limit to how many of them you could get. So you could go for multiple degrees, I guess. And keep getting a lifetime learning credit.
You don't even necessarily have to get a degree with it. Like it's not a BA or a BS or a master's or a
right.
JD. It's just a credit that is beneficial to you, to your business. And each year, I think it's capped though at like $2,000 a year, right? But you can do it over and over and over again, right? If I knew
Yes.
that, I wouldn't have gotten my law degree in 3 years. I would have just made it so it's spanned.
You would have stretched it out a little bit.
I stretched it out. All right, true or false? Is it possible to receive a tax refund even if you received a 1099 without paying in any estimated taxes?
Yes.
Dun, 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 dun. That
That's
is
where
true.
you get that earned income credit.
Mhm. Let's go to deductions for 300. What do you think would be your biggest business deduction costs?
If I,
Overnight travel.
a jet
All right.
plane.
There you go. For Raymond, his biggest expense is traveling, marketing, advertising. Maybe it's eating out. But when you're eating out, make sure it's a sit-down restaurant. Make sure you're having a business meeting. Make sure you are connecting with somebody and you're paying for their meal. All right. Don't just go through that drive-through. Sit down and chill out.
Well, you could go through a drive-through as long as you have a passenger that you're talking about business.
Ooh, there you go. See, Joe's making it so it's possible to do the impossible. How do you teach kids about taxes?
Use them as write-offs?
You give them a big bill.
You give him a big, you know what I like to do?
Wait, this is not too funny.
This is not too funny. You eat a third of their ice cream.
Oh,
Take that.
And it's not too funny, peep schools. It's not too funny. What you want from
it's
me?
true though. It's true.
How much can be added to a Roth IRA for kids? Now, this is a little technical, all right? Because when you're adding this money to the Roth IRA, they want to make sure that the kids are actually making the money. So that's how much, like, there's technicality.
Put up to $6,000 if they have earned income.
There
So
you
that's
go,
why,
Joe.
like, if you put them on payroll, you know, it'll cost you the 15%, but they get to start putting money. They'll be millionaires before you are.
Speaking the truth right there. I'm
Especially
doing
if
it
they
this
invest
year.
with Ray.
Yeah, I'll get them a nice index universal life policy and they'll be set forever.
So that's what we put them on payroll, right? Then we do the Roth IRA, and then from the Roth IRA, we do a universal life insurance, and you're paying the
Index.
universe
Has to be index.
Universal index.
They're guaranteed to go up, never goes down.
All right.
Even when the market tanks, it stays flat. You don't lose.
Name some of the things that you can deduct as a business expense.
Cat food.
Ooh. Toothpaste, so long as you're giving it away as a free gift to everybody.
Beer.
Yeah, beer. We did cover that earlier in the workshop. Anybody else deducting anything strange and
My
unusual?
grandchildren.
Ooh, grandchildren.
Can I deduct my time if I'm giving it away?
No.
It's not
Darn.
worth anything, Ray.
You
okay.
cannot deduct time. However,
Oh.
if you start to invoice people, right?
Oh.
The amount that your time is actually worth, then perhaps you could deduct it, right?
Or if they don't pay you, you can write it off.
See, this is where it gets very technical. Coming to a full mastermind, that would be worth it, because then we're able to talk about it more and really iron out these details.
Your business can write off your time if you pay yourself. How is that?
Now Joe's thinking with the big brain. There we
Yes.
go. What do the elderly and children have in common during tax season?
Their dependents?
Yes.
Oh, yes, that's not that funny.
It's called not funny.
Wait a minute. The tone of his voice, that was so sincere.
People here, Joe. I don't know about you. And that's why we're gonna go. Wait. What is it? This is an old question. That's not even the right question. Oh, all right. Well, that's it. It's not a true or false. Tell us something that you know about the World Wide Web.
It's not really worldwide.
That is very true.
That is true.
They gotta get a new name for it.
All right, so then let's go to our last thing, because it is 3:02 and I respect everybody's time. I don't want to keep us here too long. What was your biggest takeaway from this workshop? You can put it in the chat. You can yell it out loud.
It was one of those credits. I can't remember which one.
There's so many of them. All right,
Good
Raymond,
chat
that's
with me,
why.
Ray.
But you're gonna send me a text copy, a PDF text file of the chat, because I can't save it because I'm on my phone. So it'll be in there somewhere. I'll just have to go in and find it.
That's true. Okay, I will send you the shared text or the chat. Any other big takeaways? Carrie, what was your biggest takeaway? You got one.
I do. I would have to say the fact that you can deduct things that you wouldn't think you utilize as marketing. So like the whole situation with the gas station that was then using the beer as a deduction because it was promotion in order to get them more sales for their gas station. I wasn't aware of that. So different marketing tools that you can use.
Yvette says moving to an S Corp, not an LLC. And she said everything, which is awesome.
So can you print the transcript of this meeting?
Can I print the transcript?
Yeah. Does your Zoom account turn it into a PDF?
Yeah, actually, that's part of Zoom, Elizabeth. It turns the whole meeting into a
I just did it actually. Yeah. So you can go to the live transcript. Everybody can do this if you'd like to. You can go to the arrow, click the arrow, and then it says to see the full transcript. You can see the full transcript, and then you can save the transcript. And then you want to show it in your folder, and it's right there.
Would
So
you
yeah.
save it for me? Because I'm on my phone, and then
I
add
did.
that to the email.
I did, Ray, just because I love you
Cool.
that much.
Thank
We'll
you.
we'll add it to his next invoice too.
I owe you.
All I can say is, Raymond, don't use that I as a promotional write-off, okay? I don't
Oh, you
think
should see
you'll be able
the,
to
you
do
should
it.
see the other guy.
Oh my goodness.
Right,
But
thank you, everyone. Thank you, Elizabeth. Thank you, team. Thank you, Carrie, Ray, and Yvette. I'm looking forward to chatting with you.
she connected through Be Connected. Woot woot. That's awesome. And also, if you want to chit chat more with Joe, it's always timewithjoe.com. And then I'm closing this workshop down. I hope to see people
Okay.
on Friday. All right.
Thank you.
So much for
Alright.
being here. Bye.
Bye.
Bye.